Today we're back on listening to our musics, and so far this has been going well. I've been getting some fairly positive viewership of this shit on YouTube. I mean, it's nothing big, but it's bigger than the majority of the gaming shit I ever put on there. So we're gonna continue on with this. Not that we need viewership, but I've been having a lot of fun. Today we're going to take a break from the metal that we've been playing on here lately, and we're going to take a dive into, I guess you could call it shoegaze. I guess Jesus and Mary Chain is considered shoegaze. We're going to listen to. I haven't done a real deep dive into Jesus and Mary Chain in my life. I've heard a few songs here and there, and I know the first song that's on the album we're going to do, Psychocandy, today, I've listened to before. Just Like Honey is like one of their biggest songs. So I've obviously heard that song, but the rest of the album I haven't heard, and I love shoegaze music. It's one of my favorite kinds of music. So Jesus and Mary Chain's always considered one of those bands, but I've never really thought they go in line with stuff like My Bloody Valentine or Slow Dive and stuff like that, which are two of the premier bands, or the bands when shoegaze comes up, they immediately get referenced. And I want to deep dive a little bit further. So there's like a couple bands, the Stone Roses, and Jesus and Mary Chain are two kind of blind spots for me. And let's read this extremely long bio that they have here on Apple Music, because that's our venue of choice for all of this stuff. Let's see what they have to say. Psychocandy, made by the Jesus and Mary Chain in 1985. Despite going to great lengths to alienate audiences, the members of the Sex Pistols never inspired a full-on concert riot. Yet somehow the Jesus and Mary Chain managed to incite 3 before the release of the group's 1985 debut, Psychocandy. The violence was motivated in part by the group's unwillingness to strike the expected antagonistic pose. In fact, the Scottish foursome, led by brothers Jim and William Reed, strived to be non-confrontational. On stage, the members stood stock still, riffing through short and catchy tunes that recalled the pop of bubblegum groups like the Shangri-Las, as well as the sound of such brill-building teen idols as Neil Sedaka. The primary difference was that the Reed brothers played their tunes through a skin-crawling wall of distortion full of screeching feedback and white noise harmonics. It all made for a wild racket, and when the Jesus and Mary Chain was performing, the sonic dissonance was enough to make even the most well-adjusted soccer hooligan throw a bottle at the stage. The unrest over the band was further incited by breathless hype from the UK's weekly music papers, NME and Melody Maker. Both rags were staffed largely by veterans of the 1970s now revered punk scene, as well as younger writers determined to recreate the excitement they had missed. At one point, 3 articles about the band appeared in a single week. The Jesus and Mary Chain had caught the hearts and ears of press thanks to the savage fuzz of the group's first 7-inch, led by the ultra-hooky Upside Down. And I'm guessing that's a song. And the noise would only grow louder with the release of Psychocandy. Songs like In a Hole and Inside Me sizzled with saturated and sustained high-end tones. But that wounded like nails on a chalkboard scree back in 1985 feels almost comforting now, like dozing off to the static of an old television set. And while Psychocandy would influence the next several decades worth of noise rock and shoegaze, the album's biggest song, Just Like Honey, has become sort of an indie rock standard that gets played at hip weddings and inspires mainstage sing-alongs at music festivals. No one has tossed a glass at the band in years. So, if you're not familiar with what shoegaze is, or never listened to this kind of music, the traditional... It as the little bio here for the album stated, its sound has infiltrated alt rock in a way that can't be really downplayed. Everything from Deftones to Smashing Pumpkins to beyond have kind of taken this wall of distorted, like, how can you put it? They're like big riffs, but also very dense, full of reverb and echo and and they just like they're stacked and layered in a way that at all the music becomes kind of dreamlike, and it's almost like a sonic blanket. That's the way I've always thought of the sound of stuff like My Bloody Valentine and Slow Dive, is that in Smashing Pumpkins and Deftones, to be honest, even though those aren't really traditional shoegaze bands, there's been a lot of other bands that have come and Dive is another one that I really, really like, that have this idea that, for me, it's almost like comfort, chill, soothing music with poppy hooks, but then there's some real crazy dissonance that happens in the music. And if you're not used to noise, some of this music can really put you off. Thanks for clearing up the lore on site. Omar, of course, I'm going to give you all the lore I possibly can on the records we're going to listen to, because I know a lot of you don't listen to this kind of music. Are you familiar with this kind of music, Omar? Being a metal fan, for me, honestly, it's hard for me to believe that fans of like black metal don't in some way like shoegaze. There's a lot of elements between the two genres that coalesce, especially now that it's more overt with bands like Death Heaven or Alcest or Latlos, things like that, that, you know, this kind of music is done more than just stay on the periphery of pop alt rock or even more noise-based stuff like Sonic Youth or Animal Collective. You know, stuff like this where they really push the boundaries of, you know, what is acceptable in a pop song. I'm familiar with the genre in bands like My Bloody Valentine 6. My Bloody Valentine's Loveless is hands down one of the greatest things ever. Obviously. And that's that's one of my favorite records. I love that. I actually like all of My Bloody Valentine stuff. Yeah, obviously. So, yeah, I've been meaning to deep dive into the Jesus and Mary chain. And today we're going to start that journey. This has been really fun going through these records we've been going through lately. And this obviously is an older record. We've mostly been listening to brand new releases so far. But it's made me, like the Melvins Napalm Death record that we listened to, made me go back and listen to a couple other Melvins records I had never listened to. And I'm so glad for it because, man, I've found some really cool shit in there. I'm hoping the same happens today with Psychocandy and the Jesus and Mary chain. So that is our lore. That's where we're starting. And we're going to dive into this. This is definitely not going to be like growly shit. Suede are probably as popular as ever now. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's listen to the big hit, Just Like Honey. And right off the bat, I don't remember this song. I'm sure I've heard it, but it's been a while. So let's do it. Boom. Oh, we get lyrics today. You can already hear the sheer amount of fucking reverb and echo on this music. That's a calling card of a lot of shoegaze, is that sometimes the tempos can be sort of fast, but it's mostly kind of like mid to slow tempos, like not super hype music. It's more dreamy. It's more like dream pop for the most part. So, yeah. Ooh. Oh, I've definitely heard this song. The vocals, that was one thing once, because I wasn't into this kind of music back in the 90s when I was in high school. What introduced me to this music was Smashing Pumpkins. Mostly because of the vocals. It wasn't just because, I mean, I was a huge, death metal fan and metal fan, and I grew up as a hair metal fan, to be honest. So I love pop. I love poppy hooks. But with Smashing Pumpkins, the things that drove me to seek out the influences of that music, which was always directly referenced to My Bloody Valentine, were the vocals, were that dreamy, layered, super heavily reverbed vocal that was more set down in the music. And obviously The Cure as well, right? The Cure obviously is running through a lot of this stuff. But X-Pac! Thank you for that, X-Pac. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. So yeah, you're getting basically the hallmarks of shoegaze at this point already. Let's start this over again. Can't believe you're listening to one of my favorite. You like this album, Omar? I've never sat and listened to this. I'm really excited. Let's go through it again. Fuck yeah. I love how it's super distorted and brash, that guitar, but it's still clean. Like, you could tell what's going on in it. And it's just such a wonderful sound, man. It's so open. Oh, I've definitely heard this song before. It's good, so good, it's so good, so good. Walking back to you is the hardest thing that I can do. One of my favorite things about this kind of music, and there's a band called the Ravenettes that do this as well. If you're not aware of and have never listened to the Ravenettes, they sound exactly like this, and it has that throwback 50s kind of almost doo-wop feel to it. It sounds there's a lot of old school rock sensibilities with the hooks and with the sound. Almost a rockabilly sound in some ways with some of it. So that for me, it's an amalgamation. Like some of these bands are amalgamation of a lot of things that I love. Real noisy stuff, real pop, like hook driven stuff. Also old school, like 50s rock and rockabilly. I love that kind of shit. And it's just such a dreamy vibe, man. It's hard not to just get like immersed into this. You're surprised you like this? That I like this? Well, X-Pac, as I had told you before in one of the other streams, metal isn't the only music I listen to. I listen to just about everything, and I don't say that like some fucking rube that, you know, you when you're on a dating site. Let's do this. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole here. When you're on a dating site and you're talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I listen to everything, and then you ask them and it's really not true. Music has been one of those things that I've always been an explorer. I've always been someone open to hearing things because music has been such an important part of my life. So I don't pigeonhole myself into one place. I was a band dork. I wasn't into sports. I was into art and I was into music. And I actually, when I went to college, originally was a music major. I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I don't show it or do it here, but I can play lots of instruments. So I love all kinds of stuff. I remember someone AIing Depeche Mode into 50s rock, and it sounded so similar. That makes total sense. I know, but I couldn't picture you listening to something this soft. I listen to a lot of soft shit, dude. A lot of soft shit. It's just when we're here, I mostly listen to hype shit. So that's just how it is. So let's get back to it. So good. Such a good vocal, man. I hate to keep breaking this up because this is such a good song. This is a 10 out of 10 song, honestly. I I think some of also what led me down the path of liking the more dreamy stuff too was David Lynch. Like Twin Peaks and Julie Cruz and Angelo Balmanetti, the music that they had in that led me down paths. And that definitely, like, all of this sensibility is there. And I just fucking, man, I just swallowed and ate it up. I love the vibe, man. I really love the vibe.
I'll be a plastic toy for you. Eating disco is the hardest thing for me to do.
Like, you can hear it. You can hear that 50s kind of, like, guitar hook. This is such a good song.
Just like honey.
Boom, 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 boom.
Just like honey. 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 Just like
The combination of the female and male vocal in this kind of music is, and this goes back again, I said, to what introduced me to this music was Smashing Pumpkins. And those early Smashing Pumpkins records, those first two, Gish and Siamese Dream, where Billy Corgan and DRC mixed the vocals together in a very kind of complimentary and dreamy kind of way. I just love that so much. And again, I'm going to keep bringing up this band, and I hope you guys check them out, the Ravenettes. Like, this song, Just Like Honey, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravenettes said this was like the base of their entire career. Because it sounds so similar to a lot of their fucking shit. It's so good. Huh, I wonder why that turned off. Okay, the next song. Ooh, I like how garagey this is. Okay, so this has, we didn't say this before we get to the living end, and we're gonna start that over again. 14 tracks, and none of the tracks, the longest track is 4 minutes long, so this album's gonna fly the fuck by. This is gonna be a really fast album, I have a feeling. One song, even, it's 1 minute and 42 seconds. That's as long as it is. So this is gonna be a quick one. I like that we have the lyrics on this. Most of the stuff we've been doing lately has had no lyrics on any of this. So this is nice. Very surfy. Again, that whole 50s vibe with, it's very surfy. It's like, the last one had a little bit of that rockabilly tinge, and this one has more of the surf angle in it, which I fucking love. Very punky, too. Very punky.
Just like a mirror.
I'm curious. I don't know if you guys are hearing this. I don't know if it's a combination of the echo, the slapback echo that's going on with the drums, and then the drenched reverb and echo that's on the guitars. But it almost sounds like there's someone chipping away at rocks in a cave that are falling in the background. That the combination, like the echoes that are going on, are just creating these other tones in the background. It's really interesting. I love how lo-fi all the music sounds right now. It's so fucking cool, dude. Let's go back here. There was definitely some weird kind of dissonant harmonics going on with the echoes that are happening. Yeah. No, that's definitely another guitar in the background that is thrown through so much effects that it almost doesn't sound like a guitar. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it. I love that whole abrupt kind of a train's just screeching to a halt and you don't know exactly when it's going to stop, but it's going to stop kind of ending. The Misfits used to do that so much on those Glenn Danzig fucking recordings where songs would be propelling themselves and all of a sudden they would just stumble to the end because it mostly screamed of one dude recording everything by himself, right? And it's hard to time that stuff up, especially if you're playing a lot of it live. And back in the day when all of this stuff was recorded on tape, it wasn't like you necessarily had the exact representation of the waveforms to line them up and get them all perfect the way that we do now with digital workstations like Pro Tools or Logic or whatever you're using, GarageBand, whatever you're using. I love the messiness of it. It is so awesome. And of course, all of the lyrics and all the songs are just simple. None of the lyrics are super in depth. This was a song about a dude riding a motorcycle and being cool. I have a feeling that's the way all of this is going to be. That's usually how a lot of this music is. It's this kind of forlorn, dreamy, optimistic lover, or hey, aren't I cool? Aren't I a cool outsider? That's a lot of this music. My husband's new guitar pedal thing has a backrooms tone setting. Kind of just sounds like a guitar, though, not gonna lie. What does that mean? What is a backrooms tone setting? I'm just trying to picture what that would sound like. Is it supposed to make it sound like a drone? I don't know what that... I've watched enough backrooms at this point that I would understand... I think I would understand that reference, but I don't know, man. I can't picture that in my head. I'm going to actually, on another screen, so I'm not back and forthing this, I'm going to bring up, so I know the song titles before we go into it. Okay, so let's see here. Where is this? Okay, the next song is Taste the Floor. Maybe it adds a fucking neon light hum? That's that's fair. All right, let's get to the next song. So far, 2 for 2 on this. Oh. Fuck, I am such an idiot for sleeping on this. This is so good. The lazy delivery of the vocals, I love. I'm a huge Sonic Youth fan, and he has the sound of this guy, and I want to get this right because I don't know these guys very well. Let me quick look this up. Okay, so the members are Jim and William Reed. I don't know who's who in this band. And who does what. The primary singer is Jim Reed. Okay, cool. He has a very kind of drawly, slow delivery that, you know, Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth kind of has, right? I just love it. I love it so much. And the way how obnoxiously overdriven all of those guitars are. They're so tinny, man. Is there even bass in any of this? Let's start this one over. I haven't even, honestly, at this point, I haven't even noticed if there's a bass playing. Is this just a two-man band and there's nobody else that is in this playing with them? Because I don't recall back in the day there being that many two-man bands. Usually, a lot of these acts had, you know, full instrumentation of like drum, guitar, bass. And I'm not hearing that right now. Let's start this over and see if we can hear a bass at all. Oh, there's bass. So there's something that we don't see very often in American music is the just flippant use of the word cunt. It has such connotation to it. To see it just like used in the way that a lot of people overseas use it is I'm sure it'll trigger some people that don't like the use of that word because of its derogatory meaning. But I mean, here it's used the way that it's used, right? It's definitely not meant to infer any negative connotation towards women at all, obviously. And as we had said before, this was made in 1985. Yeah, oh no, Omar says. It's not a word that I ever use, honestly. I mean, Omar, how prevalent is the use of the word cunt in your vocabulary? Very. That does not surprise me. Man, I love all the vocals. Oh, listen to that. That just literally sounds like that's like they're using the guitar as a percussive instrument with the distortion, as opposed to this is what you would traditionally label as the guitar solo, right? Where you would hear some soaring melody played over top of the instrumentation, but nope, this is literally let's toss this thing through fucking tons of fucking distortion, echo, and reverb to the point of breaking, and it's just like muting all of those chords, or maybe even strumming it up here and just bashing on that thing. It's fucking wonderful. I absolutely love it. X-Pac doesn't like that word. I've only ever used that word twice, and it was in a fit of rage. Ooh. The guy who runs my supercard team is from England, and cunt is his favorite word. Well, and that's the thing, right? In England, and over there, that word has a completely different meaning, and it's used in a completely different way. Where here, it's inherently tied as a derogatory term towards women. So it's not something that we use. Cariosa says, no effects. You're wrong about wearing fur, but not hating Ann Coulter because she's a cunt. See, there's the difference. There's the difference in the use of that term, right? And fuck Ann Coulter. She sucks. She's a piece of shit. It's true, Omar. It's true. It's almost like the Americans, like we Americans, and I hate putting myself in this term, but I am an American. Always go out of their way to find ways to make everything way more offensive than it needs to be. Way more offensive than it needs to be. Another extremely solid fucking song. I have a feeling this entire record's just going to be absolutely amazing, and I'm not going to dislike anything on it. I think that's where we're going to be with most of this. Is Ann Coulter the Rhino, or am I confusing her with someone else? Ann Coulter, and I don't want to have her go into business for herself on this fucking channel or like give her too much shine, but she was, I haven't seen her lately, thankfully, a really horribly extreme right-wing political commentator who just has horrible takes on everything. Obvious racist, obvious misogynist, obvious, which is shocking, to be honest, obvious, like, extreme religious, just an awful, awful person. Really, and just for clout over the last 20, 30 years, has literally just said anything that they could in order to get some shine. I would label her like the 90s and 2000s Charlie Kirk. Honestly, Ann Coulter and Charlie Kirk had a lot more in common than you would believe. She literally would say anything and write anything to offend the broadest spectrum of people. She's just awful. She's just an awful, awful person. One of our favorite people. No, I will never say that. I will never agree with that. I've hated her from frame one. Every time she's on the screen, I want her off of the screen. She's a terrible person. She'll fit right in with us then. Nope. Disagree. Hard disagree. Hard disagree. X-Pac, I'm moving on from that. I don't even want to talk about her anymore. I hate her so much. All right. I hate to break this up because I'm enjoying this so much. I'm enjoying, like, this is, I like this kind of music tremendously. And I am really kicking myself right now for all these years not listening to Psychocandy. Because this album so far, we're 4 songs in, is perfect. It's exactly the kind of shit that I like. And honestly, I know I've said this before already on this stream. I'm going to bring this up real quick. Hold on. If you like this record and you like the sound of this, you're going to like the Ravenettes record, Whip It On. Whip It On and Chain Gang of Love. These 2 records sound, so much. They owe so much to Psychocandy. They basically took Psychocandy, and they're a 2-person band as well. They literally owe everything to the Jesus and Mary chain. I see that now, and I kick myself for not deep diving on this in the past. Stinky old bitch. Well, now you just gotta catch up. And exactly, Cariosa. I think we're gonna do that too. If it's all like this, man, we're gonna listen to some more of this. I want to keep deep diving Jesus and Mary chain. If this is how it all is, man, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I see people go on rants about all these different people. I have no clue who they are. They are part of Cena's chain gang. Okay. That is a random reference. I like when you find bands that you're aware of, but just kind of didn't discredit, but also had like 1 or 2 songs where you're like, okay, yeah, that's okay. And you just decided that was all you were going to listen to of them. And that's kind of how I've seen Jesus and the Mary chain, where for some reason I just never felt the urge to dig deeper. And now we have this entire catalog of theirs. And let's see, how many records do they actually have? I hate when fucking Apple Music doesn't let me see. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 records. And then a bunch of EPs and singles. Fuck. That's exciting. There's a lot of music there for us to explore. I'm really hype to try and dig deep into this because this is such easy going, chill music. If you can get past, and this is just for normies like me, I don't need to get past anything. I love this. I love the sound of this because I like lo-fi, kind of real dirty, reverby, 50s rockabilly surf styled music. If you can get past the the noise angle of this, I would say, for most people. Man, there's such good melodies here, such good hooks, and it's just got that dreamy kind of old school vibe to it that I just love. I hate repeating myself endlessly, but I don't know how much I really have to say about this that we already haven't. I have a feeling all of it's going to just sound like this, and it's so pleasurable, like all of it. I think it's important to at least familiarize yourself with the people who are controlling the country right now. Fuck learning about some hateful random activist, though. Agreed. Agreed, which is why I've never given the time of day or much thought to people like Ann Coulter or Charlie Kirk. They are trolls that are there to go into business for themselves through hate. And which is why here on the Twitch channel, I don't put up with trolls. Because it's just like, that is a waste of everyone's fucking time. Literally everyone's fucking time. It's not shoegaze, but there's another good lo-fi band from around this time called the Silver Jews. I am definitely not familiar with that. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, I see. Okay, so Apple Music has 2 albums by Silver Jews. Oh, look at all these. Oh, those are the essential albums. I always forget. Oh, look at this. There's a lot. Interesting. Let's put that on. Which album, Omar, if we're going to dive into this, would you recommend us listening to first? Would it be one of these essential albums, The Natural Bridge or American Water? Or would it be one of these Tanglewood Numbers? All right, I'm going to put that on the playlist then. Let's put that on the playlist. Okay. Tanglewood Numbers. We're going to definitely listen to that in the future for sure. Thank you for that. I'm always all about recommendations from you guys for these deep dives that we're doing, for sure. So please don't hesitate to throw out music, so long as it's not a troll. Rather spend myself doing something else instead of losing brain cells. Don't have many left. I'm there with you, brother. Completely there with you. All right, let's get back to this extremely pleasurable music. I like that. I like when the guitars drop out for a little bit. It's all so simple. Like, the melody's all so simple. I can see where, like, I'm as I'm listening to this and the sparseness of this song in particular, where the guitars seem to float in its own space, where the rhythm section, the drum and the bass are holding it down, and it feels like there's just a lot of room to work with in there. I can see where some of the other songs that we've listened to, they could be abrasive live without. I don't know if live they had a bass player. It'd be interesting to know if they did. I'm guessing they did. But that concert where they had bottles thrown at them and all the shit. Some of this kind of stuff live, I've been at shows with bands that are super duper loud, and like the noise level is really hard. That shrill high end of that distortion, I could totally see that being hard to stomach for a long period of time. I absolutely could totally see that. On a record, it's mixed perfectly. It's not like brash and shrill. I have a feeling if you're listening to it on something that has like no bass frequencies, like some shitty Bluetooth speaker, you know, like one of those that you find at the dollar store at or fucking Five Below, I could see it being hard. But for the most part, if you're listening to anything that has at least some sort of bass frequency response, I don't see this music being shrill whatsoever. This is a really nice mix for the kind of music that this is, for sure. That's really nice. Just simple rhythms, simple melodies, head boppy pop. Hasn't been a bad song yet. Cut Dead is next. Ooh! Acoustic guitar. This sounds heavily like Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground. Like, listen to that acoustic, like, the slapback, which, if you don't know what slapback reverb or slapback echo is, it was something that was made popular in the 50s with artists like Elvis Presley and the like, where they would essentially have an effect that would create an echo that was just mere milliseconds behind. It would double what you were playing, but create it like an echo that would be like half a second to a second behind, and it would make it sound much bigger than it is, but it also, especially on drums, it makes the drums in combination with reverb sound huge. But this has that kind of like Velvet Underground, Lou Reed kind of acoustic slapback sound to it that I fucking love. I love the Velvet Underground. Even that beat sounds so Velvet Underground. Did I know the dude that invented slap bass was Drake's uncle? No. I know nothing about Drake. I did not know that. What a random fact. Larry Graham. This is so Velvet Underground.
What can I say? It's got me beaten black and blue. Why don't you know? You got me moving much too slow. Why can't you see? You got me chasing honeybees. You make me fall, broke me up and took it all. Call me your master.
Oh, really, Omar? I don't know, man. This might be my favorite song so far.
Just when I thought you knocked my body to the ground.
the way that echo changes the rhythm of the guitars and makes it just this swirly kind of thing, that there's sometimes that the guitar, it just sounds like a sea of like conflicting notes happening all the time. God, I fucking love it so much. It's just like a wave is happening right now with those guitars. And with the thing that works about this music for me is the simplicity of the vocals. Like all this stuff that's going on in the background, if it had non-vocals to it, I don't think it would work nearly as well as it does. But these vocals are just like, the melodies are so simple that it's easy to get hooked into this.
You're tearing up my weary head. Do I still shine after such a lonely time? You cut me dead. You nailed me down and kicked my head. 'Cause that your master boy.
I think that might be my favorite song so far. That had such Velvet Underground vibes. I love the Velvet Underground a lot. Not so much like some of Lou Reed's solo stuff, because some of it's just real trash. He's one of those artists, kind of like, and I know this might be sacrilegious to some people out there, but like David Bowie, where there's some David Bowie I really love, and then there's just a bunch of it just does nothing for me. And some of it's just been overplayed. Same with Lou Reed, where there's some of it I really like, and you put a Lou Reed record on, there's probably like one or two songs on each of those records where I'm like, yeah, I like that a lot. And then the rest of it is just this meandery kind of bleh, like I'm not a huge fan. Where the Velvet Underground, for the most part, most of their records all the way through were extremely fucking solid. That's what this reminded me of. That was absolutely wonderful. I loved that song. Cut Dead. There we go. Hey, interesting mix so far. This is unlike the other songs where the vocals kind of had a little bit of an oomph to it. They're really buried in this mix, and the noise factor is taking over for the most part. Sounds like someone recorded on a construction site? Absolutely. That's some of this too. Someone got a circular saw going, someone else mixing concrete. That's some of the sound of these bands like this. And I'm sorry I keep bringing these guys up, but like there's an album called Lust, Lust, Lust by the Ravenettes that has a song that has that exact screech for like almost 2-3 minutes into this extremely huge noise crescendo that happens at the climax of the song. That's definitely something that you're either going to have to get used to or you're going to reject outright. I fucking love this. What do you think is the hole, guys? There's something dead inside his hole. Which hole are you thinking? Is it a metaphor? Two guys' Bluetooth speakers are blasting. Alternatively, basically what I hear when I blow dry my hair and I'm always hallucinating music is the sound. It's Richard Gere. Oh no! I hope it's a metaphor. It's X-Pac just comes out. Not even making jokes. X-Pac just comes out. It's definitely his asshole. Who knew these guys were going to have an ode to a butthole in this on this album? Every time I blow dry my hair, I could straight up hear the instruments and singing. Me and this guy are twins. I'm on the fence of giving this one a star. Like, I like this song. That brashness, I have a feeling in some way I'm going to have this, because I'm definitely going to be putting this into heavy rotation. I'm going to be listening to this album a lot. I love it. We're basically almost to the halfway point of the album, and it's been fucking 10 out of 10 for me so far. The brashness of the sound on this one might be almost a little much, but I'm giving it a star. Fuck it. That's a good hook. There's a good hook going on here.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Welcome in, Mark. Welcome in. Now, Cariosa, now that you said that this is like you blow drying your hair and hearing music, I can't get it out of my head. I cannot get that out of my head. I hear it now. Here we go. The noise is getting even more intense now. Oh, listen to that. Listen to how that fucking, like, the echo is taking over this song in almost every single way.
What a hole.
What a hole. Listen to how the vocals are just descending. Like the dry portion of the reverb is being overtaken now, and the wet angle is taking on more and more, and those vocals are just like starting to fade into water almost. Bathroom tile acoustics. He's singing this on the shitter, confirmed. Wow, those vocals are just like taking over. So good. The crescendo of that at the end there, it's so good. I loved what they did. They were fucking around with sound that day, and I dug it.
What?
He finally pooped out the dead thing. Now he's going to take a cool tile nap of relief. I don't know about you guys. A tile nap for me usually is when I'm so sick I can't kneel in front of the toilet puking anymore, and I got to take a tile nap to settle everything down. Is that what you're referring to, Karios? I didn't realize the song In a Hole was going to become us just talking about taking a shit the entire time. Good old IBS tile nap. I'm almost positive that's not what he intended, but that is the lore we are establishing here today. I'm taking a shit. Is it our ballpark, dude? It's so us. All right. The next song is Taste of Cindy. That obviously In a Hole was the noisiest cut we've had so far. To go from Cut Dead, which was a really chill, like Velvet Underground song, to a basic noise rock piece in A Hole. What a drastic contradiction. It's cool. I loved it. You can't be you can't be singing songs about holes without us making assumptions. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Uh-oh. Is Apple Music deciding that's not going to play this? Oh, noes. Oh, noes. Look at this. We're going to have to... Let's refresh.
Crack your tongue. Cindy's moving on. Talking Cindy to everyone. Till she's had her fun. She and me. We twist the sun and see. Still she's talking to everyone. Cindy's had her fun. The one I've heard.
That's a bit extreme, X-Pac. That's a bit extreme. Let's dial that back a little bit here. Cindy's a fun time girl. That doesn't make it that bad. Come on now. Just working it today at Lurk. Well, thanks for lurking there, Mark. And I hope you enjoy this. So far, this Jesus and Mary Chain record has been so pleasurable. It's been so good. We're halfway through the record right now, and it's just good times noise rock. I fucking love it. Yeah, listen to Omar. Please be lighthearted and respectful here on my channel, X-Pac. Cindy makes a great potato salad. We've obviously gone off the rails. Let's start this one again. I will not hear slander against her. Agreed.
Crack your tongue. Cindy's moving on. Talking Cindy to everyone. Till she's had her fun. She and me. We twist the sun and see. Still she's talking to everyone. Cindy's had her fun. The one I've heard.
So obviously, Cindy broke off a piece for this guy at one point, and now the guy's obsessed. And Cindy's a free roamer. She doesn't lock on to anybody. She just likes to have her good old time, get her kicks, and then move on. She's friends with everybody. But this dude is more of a romantic than that. She broke off a piece, and now he's obsessed. That's what the song is here. Got a taste of Cindy. Boy, he liked it. You love her potato salad? She brings fun to every game night.
I
That's putting it lightly. Ooh. That was interesting. What do you think that was? Was that them tapping, like the drummer tapping on a stick, or on what was that? Let's go back a little bit. It almost sounds like two spoons going like this with tons of reverb on it. Cindy and Roxanne must be friends. Just an album of straight up bangers, like non-stop bangers. There hasn't been a bad song on this record. Again, another straight up, like, there's so much Beach Boys going on in this music. It's so surfy, a lot of it. I've been like trying to put my finger on a lot of like what possibly are the influences behind that, and these sounds that are so familiar. And like this song in particular, what a Beach Boys sound this has. Let's start this thing over again. This is a fucking great tune. Yeah, they didn't actually use guitars, Cariosa. They just kind of went around and that sound captured noisy things. Is that the lore we're going with now? Is that the guitars in this one are actually the screes of a train? That's how I do it. Some bands do. Oh, that's a very pure... That little guitar riff in the background sounds so much like The Cure. Okay. It's kind of falling apart here at the end. Like, listen, there's just random screaming going on in the background right now. You could almost mistake it at first for a guitar. Like when there's other stuff going on, it almost Omar nailed it. It's totally some pleasure going on. Sometimes you need screaming in there for flavor. At first I mistook it for like a guitar, like a distorted guitar, but as it goes along, it's clear it's someone yelling in the background. Like right there sounds like a guitar. It almost sounds like somebody strumming and doing almost like a slide up, but it's definitely not. Man, it's getting harder and harder for me to discern like what my favorite tracks are on this because they're just all so good. I really liked that one. There's right now we have like almost
I'm
like
a man. I'm 40.
We have almost like a three-way tie for me with Cut Dead, Taste of Cindy, and Never Understand. Those three songs for me are so good. Just like Honey is, of course, really good. But I don't know. These three tracks are just so fucking solid. They're so good. All right, this one's Inside Me. That almost sounds like, and I hate to constantly make comparisons, but did you guys ever hear that Misfits comp album Legacy of Brutality and some of that stuff like Angel Fuck or trying to think what the other one on there that was, it sounded like this, like the guitar was so buried in the mix, but it was so 50s coded with just absolutely terrible tinny distortion on it. And it's not like, take it out. Ah. I'm hearing so many other artists that were influenced by this shit. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I want to now see, because I don't want to misspeak. When did that come out? Same year, September of 1985. There was something in the air. But these were... So Legacy of Brutality came out... They were previously unreleased songs, mainly from January through February 1978, the Static Age sessions. So does that mean... I don't know, man. That sounds like so much of what was going on this. That's surprising. It was just released in 1985, probably due to, like, you know, the rising popularity of the Misfits, right? But that sound definitely sounds like some of the shit on Legacy of Brutality for sure. Dude, Legacy Brutality has so many good tracks on it, dude. It's one of my faves. It is kind of almost like a remix album of Static Age. There's a lot of Static Age stuff on it, but then it has shit like American Nightmare, which arguably might be almost my favorite Misfits song, which is totally in line with this shit. My husband just made me take pics of his music area to show his friend. Nice. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously a comp between a bunch of different records, but it's mostly Static Age, which if you guys haven't heard Misfits Static Age, what a great record that is, man. Such a good record. All right. Anyways. There is a lot of noise going on in this track right here. This is mostly like the only thing holding this all together right now is the rhythm section. That bass, it's almost like the bass is the melody, right? Like you are not hearing a fucking lick of anything going on in that guitar. It's so distorted. Did so much furniture rearranging on Sunday, and today is the first day I could walk without a limp. Well, that's good to hear, dude. That's really good to hear. This song, let's hear some more of it. It really feels like the vocals and the bass are holding this thing down right now. Otherwise, this would just turn into a straight up noise track. If you eliminated those two things and it was just the drums and the guitars, straight up noise track. The guitar is mixed so low. The guitar is mixed so low that it's hard because the distortion is so heavy and the reverb on that distortion is so heavy, you almost can't tell any of the notes that are being played at all. Uh-oh, expand, boys! Oh shit, we're gonna expand! Oh, it did, you know what? I don't think that's, you know what, Cariosa? I think expand is actually one of the blurp sounds. I don't think it's actually one of...
Your anus will expand from 6 feet to a foot.
I was right.
Ah!
I was already scrolling for it, brother. Oh, fuck. probably the first track that I'm kind of like, that might be the first track that I'm kind of like, it's okay. Like, when I'm playing the album, I'll definitely let that roll, so maybe I'll like it more upon subsequent listens, but that song was kind of, it did. And I think that's kind of the point of it. Just a zone out song. It's not like it's got hooks, obviously the vocals, but the vocals are like, even the melody is all fairly monotone, right? Also, weed made me zone out. Are you sure it wasn't expand? Did you expand? We're 10 songs into the 14 tracks, guys, and so far we've had one song that was kind of, but the rest of it's all been absolute straight up fucking classic bangers. This is such a good discovery for me. I feel like such an idiot not jumping on this record long ago. Sowing Seeds is this track. Oh, another Velvet Underground song.
I see people going down.
Ooh.
All guns, people going down.
Oh, God.
And I should not be.
I already love this.
I should be on my phone. Yes, I should be on my phone. Yes, I should be on my phone.
They know perfectly how to create the dynamics in these songs with all of this distortion that's going on and letting the songs breathe in really like satisfying ways. That's the key for mixing this kind of stuff and playing this really super noisy stuff, is to know where to leave space for the melody. Because if it is just going to be noise, then cool. Then it's just like, well, let's create an overall tonality to it, right? And it's just going to wash over you, and it's a vibe. But this music's far more concerned with melody and catchy hooks. The entire, like, the record's shown us so far that it has way more pop sensibility than your average kind of just noise rock shoegaze type stuff, where it has that bass of that super ultra distorted guitar that you can kind of hear, you know, what's being played, the rhythm a little bit, but it has the melodies of the guitar lines of like the secondary guitar line that comes in that kind of cuts through and gives you some sort of, you know, guiding melody through this, outside of the vocals, which obviously are all, for the most part, the vocals, there's not like a huge range that he's going through, and they all are pretty well spoken, like, you know, that through the whole thing. So it's almost like the rest of the music carries more of the melodic adventure, where you just keep things simple with the vocals and the bass and the drums. It's very interesting music. It's so simple. Like, all of it's so simple. I'm gonna be playing this song a lot. That is such a good vibe. That is such a good vibe. I'm going to be sending that to my daughter. She's going to love that song so much. Oh, that is such a good vibe, dude. What a great tune. Sowing Seeds. How can you pick a best song on this record? It's just constantly something amazing around the fucking corner. We have 4 songs left. I told you this album was just going to fly by. Absolutely fly by. My Little Underground is the next track. This sounds like one of the other tunes. The vocal, like the verse almost feels like something that would be the chorus in other songs, right? The actual chorus is just a ah. It's so amazing to me as I listen, especially this track in particular, like how the mix doesn't get absolutely mud with the sheer amount of reverb that's on everything. Literally everything, even the bass. If you sit and listen to the bass, it is just slathered in reverb, and it just kind of takes the punchiness out of those notes and smooths it all out. It's blowing my mind how this isn't just like audio mud with the way this is. Because if you listen to that bass, it's just, you can tell that it's affected big time because it just, like, the sound slides with like, it's not like he's just sliding, but it's also, the sound is catching up to it. It, like, when he hits it and goes to a different note, you can hear it catching up with the reverb and the echo. So it's just like everything is so drenched. Another fucking great tune. You Trip Me Up. We have 3 songs left. We're almost there. I think the only negative you could put towards anything on this record, outside of normies aren't going to understand the noise of this, and won't be used to it, and whether that's palatable to you aesthetically is completely up to personal choice. If you can handle that kind of stuff, is that a lot of it is samey, right? Do you guys feel like a lot of the songs kind of sound exactly the same, like they take divergent breaks and then come back to a song that sounds like something that you've heard before? That's really the only dig I can put towards this, any of this record, is that after a while, like at this point we're on track 12, some of the songs are pretty samey. But is that a bad? If you're vibing, is that a bad? Isn't most pop music kind of the same over the course of an album? I mean, every record we've listened to so far kind of has been that way. The Napalm Death Melvins one definitely wasn't. But the other ones we listened to kind of the same throughout the entire thing. Like, is it a bad thing? I know. That's why I'm just, like, trying to figure, like, I'm not trying to actively find bad in this, because I don't really hear anything, but I mean, if you're going to say anything, I suppose, like, it is kind of all samey. Not every song was the same, so I don't think it's a bad thing. No, but there are definitely elements that are very samey through all of this. That's interesting. Like, it almost feels like the guitar is rushing the beat there, and it almost is entirely the effects that are on the guitar. It's I don't even think it's the playing. I think it's the effects make the guitar sound like it's rushing the beat. Wow, that section was something. I want to hear that again. That section, there was a lot of swirling going on in there. All right, I want to go back a little further. What is that? Is that just the swell in the whole of that, of the, like, the rhythm guitar? Or what is that sound? Is that a vocal? That was crazy.
I'd like to trip you up.
So cool. That's another great tune. What another great tune. Cariosa, you were Googling these guys just to have the tab open and remember to ask my husband if he knows them later, and found an interview podcast making of documentary type video about this album. Can you post that in the Discord? I'd definitely be interested in checking that out. I'd be interested to hear more. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to, and hope that they would have some like talk about like their studio process of how they recorded this. I would love to hear that. Okay, this one, Something's Wrong. This is the longest track on the album. It rests at 4 minutes and 2 seconds. No. Total vibe, man. It almost sounds like a lot of during the verses there, like it's a drum machine. Like it's not even a drummer playing this stuff. Like I want to go back for a second because the drums are super buried in this mix, but it almost sounds like a drum machine. But the bass drum like the beat is so imperfect in a very human way that I don't think it is. I think this is all still just humans playing this music, but it almost, the way they have it sounding almost sounds like it. This reminds you vaguely of that one Blink 182 song. What song is that? I'm not familiar with Blink 182 outside of the main hits, and that's it. Definitely not a band I ever gravitated towards whatsoever. That's fair. That's fair. Ah, okay. looks like we're gonna have nothing but do-do-do-do's for the rest of the song. Nothing but do-do-do-do. Let's just vibe out, guys. Something's Wrong is the vibe song of the record. Okay. This sound right here is prototypical shoegaze. This sound right here is, if you were to toss in anything of that era and beyond of shoegaze, this is the sound right here. You have just a wall of guitar, dreamy vocals, simple beat, and then just like peeking through all of that sound is just the melody of like a soaring guitar melody. This is the prototypical shoegaze sound. It's that sound that you want to get lost in because it's sonically extremely dissonant, but also really ear-pleasing in a way that it just feels, at least to me, very comforting. I've always kind of felt shoegaze is the sonic equivalent of like a warm blanket, where when I put it on, I tend to just want to sit back and let it kind of wash over me and just kind of like hang out and feel good. And that's what I've always kind of like. This sound in particular just makes me want to close my eyes and chill. Like, I love it. This is wonderful. I don't know about you guys. Like, one, that was such a wonderful song. I love that song a lot. I'm going to listen to that one for sure. I'm going to listen to this whole album. This is going to be the vibe for a while. Like, I'm so happy we listened to this today. But I've always been, and maybe this is some of just my own mental shit with how my brain works and who I am. But I've always found white noise very soothing. I've always found and maybe that's why I gravitate towards extreme music like black metal and stuff like that and shoegaze, because there's always this wall of sound that almost is like a comforting din to me, and it always levels me out and makes me kind of like relax, where a lot of people find that abrasive. Do I have tinnitus? I do. It might be the reason why, right? It's all I hear. That's fair. That's extremely fair. God fucking damn it. I got called out. Got him! Oh, shit! Oh, that was good. Well done. All right, I don't have anything more to add to that. Let's get to the last track. This is the last song of the record. What a fucking wonderful, wonderful album this has been. It's So Hard is the final track of the record. Whoa. Omar knows what this is about. This sounds like the fucking Misfits. This sounds like the fucking Misfits right now. This is definitely the most brash song on the record. It's actively trying to, like, break your boundaries. It's actively trying to be, like, obnoxious in a way that, the rest of the album doesn't feel like it's trying to be. Even with the guitars being so beyond noise at points in this record, that it becomes just a wall of sound. This is actively trying to see if it can be obnoxious in a way that I personally love the middle finger of it, but I it's definitely, compared to everything else, not one of the more easily digestible tracks on the record. That bass line reminds me of, and I've just watched a lot of John Waters movies, and a lot of the music that he would use in those early ones, like Mondo Trasho and Multiple Maniacs, this sounds like a lot of the music that he would have in those movies. Just that old 50s, 60s kind of real simple garage rock type stuff. Very simple track. I really like that vocal melody. Fucking love it. Uh-oh, it's hard. I loved that. I really liked that song. It's definitely wanting to whip it the fucking bird at you big time. Let's let that end out. There it is, Psychocandy. Fucking A, dudes. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, because this, for me, if I gotta be honest, because you know how we do here, we sit and we give our knee-jerk reaction rating at the end of all of these fucking records. Is that how you feel, X-Pac? You're going to come on in? Cariosa says, I like them. Good album. Yes, this was their debut record. And you had written before, okay, my husband said he has heard of these guys, but not heard them. So I told him check them out because they sound like some of the old punk shit he likes. Awesome. Solid 10 out of 10. You really enjoyed this, X-Pac? I, honestly, Omar, I agree. This is a 10 out of 10 album. Even with the one song that I didn't give the star to, I fucking really liked it. I really don't think, I think that wasn't fair of me. I really agree. It's nearly a flawless record. There's really nothing I can complain about with this. It's such an easy listen. All, like, tons of really simple, catchy melodies, interesting sonic landscapes that it goes, even though the sound of, like, what it's going after is immediately familiar, with a lot of it being like Velvet Underground, Beach Boys, old school rock mixed with some shoegazy vibe type stuff. The sensibilities are so familiar, just put through the guise of extreme guitar distortion, and more drawn out dreamy vibes. God, this is the kind of music I always look for. And I listen to this kind of music quite a bit. So this is an album I'm going to listen to over and over and over again. The rare X-Pac stamp of approval, that means it's good, right? He's going to put this on right after he listens to DMX, for sure. 10 out of 10, Psychocandy. Will revisit. And I will listen to another one of these records. Maybe we should put Down the Road, and I'm going to put this on. Let's listen Down the Road. Let's listen to the next one. Let's listen to Dark Lands next, whenever we get back to Jesus and Mary Chain. I definitely want to listen to more, but I want to sit and let Psychocandy kind of soak in, because I fucking really, 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 really loved that fucking record. Thumbs up, 100%. And obviously the best record we've listened to so far. I kick myself in the fucking dick for not listening to this record before. What a fucking joy this was.